IT knowledge on an eighth grade and high school level. So I was starting very, very early in my dibble and dabbling. But enough about me. You all are here to learn how to reframe your narrative, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So we're going to also let you all know that this workshop was crafted by Right Speak Code and also Women in Tech Makers. Right Speak Code was founded in 2013. It's a safe space for professional women, non-binary, and trans technologists. What they do is they explore thought leadership throughout writing blogs and books. They also do have speaking events, conferences, and they also contribute to open source software projects. Women in Tech Makers, what they have done is they have partnered with them to present this workshop because each organization wants to share committed to fostering, excuse me, visibility to the community and developing resources with people and marginalized gender identities in tech. And also, my company, Smile Minds, has also went ahead and helped sponsor this event as well. A lot went into it as far as promotion, equipment. So my company stepped in and we took care of those things. So big shout out to my team at Smile Minds. Thank you guys so much for all the help that you all do. All right, so let's get started. Today's whole goal is just to get you comfortable with telling your story, but just by writing a professional biography. It sounds really, really simple, but it's a little bit more complex than what you think if you wanted to come from a professional standpoint. So during this whole training, like I said, please use the chat. Feel free to ask questions. Go ahead and take notes. Go ahead and screenshot the slides. Ask me questions. I do talk really, 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 really fast. So if you need me to stop and repeat, just put in the chat like, hey, can you repeat that again? Or hey, slow down, you're going too fast for me. Just let me know. I have no problem with slowing down or repeating anything that needs to be said. All right, so 100% what we're going to agree during this workshop, during this activity, let's just all agree that we're going to speak from your experience. Don't try to make up anything. Don't try to, make something sound better than what it is. Whatever your experience is, it's yours. Own it. Also, like I said, use the chat. Say hi to somebody. You can also use emojis, encouragement. If somebody says, I don't know, I'm happy I walked my dog today. If you want to send a hand clap emoji, that's fine. What is shared here does stay here 100%. Be focused, be present, and absolutely, let's have fun. This is not supposed to be an uptight thing. Let's have a good time. All right, so if you would like, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of time to go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat and go ahead and use one emoji that just kind of describes your mood right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop mine in the chat as well. Let's see. How am I feeling? I'm going to be honest. I feel nervous. What's going on, Fitmo from Chicago? Just finished the workout class. I need to go work out today as well. I totally missed my workout morning, trying to prepare for this morning. Like I said, I have 3 boys, so trying to get them settled so this can go on. I totally, but that was my workout today, handling my children. So I need to get like you and get into the gym today. So we're not going to take up too much time. We're just going to go ahead and move right along. Thank you so much for dropping your comment in the chat. I really do appreciate you interacting with me. All right. So, hello. I'm an expert. So does anybody out there that already has a blog that contributes to other publications, like speaking at conferences, like what I'm doing here today, or contributed to open source projects? If you are, you can go ahead and, put me in the chat. I know that this is a virtual room and it's kind of going to be challenging interacting. So again, please don't feel like you have to do anything. And I'm sorry, right back on track. So, but as professionals, if we don't have blogs or if we're not at speaking at conferences, then what exactly are we doing as IT professionals? Because the one thing about being an IT professional is that it's extremely communal. And what I mean by that is majority of what we do involves communicating, whether we believe it or not. We kind of, a lot of us, and I don't know, I know I do. I don't like talking to people. I'm not really good at speaking with other people. So getting into IT is kind of like, oh, the machine doesn't talk back. But the deeper that I do go and the more that I do expand, I've realized that I talk to people more than I talk to the machines. So I had to learn and shape myself on how to be able to communicate with people. So that is, if you don't think talking is part of a skill with IT or having good communication skills is not a part of being in IT, you are sadly mistaken because it 100% is a part of what you will need. But a lot of us do feel like we kind of have to be an expert in some areas in order for someone to even want to hear us talk at all. So, in the end, what do we really have to say? But often, all we really do is have a really high bar for what we think an expert kind of is or what they know. We set that bar. So, with all that being said, who feels like they're an expert? Who would, if anybody out there in the chat would feel comfortable, would feel like what they feel like they're an expert in. I'll be honest, I feel like I'm an expert in video games. I'll do something simple. I won't make it complex. I feel like I'm an expert in video games. Anything that you want to ask me about or talk to me about when it comes to video games, I can go as far as back as Pong. I won't even start with a target. We can go even further. We can go with Snake, things that were out when I was a kid. But if anybody wants to go ahead and share in the chat, like I said, what do you feel like you're an expert in? I'm gonna go ahead and move along. But when I do see post in the chat, I will read it. All right, so imposter syndrome. So this is a phrase that I think a lot of us are probably familiar with. Excuse my expression, but it's kind of described as everyone's going to realize that I really have no idea what's going on. Imposter syndrome. We've all had that feeling at least once. So let's talk about it. What is imposter syndrome? If anybody wants to go ahead and put what they think it is in the chat, totally fine. I'm gonna go ahead and give the politically correct answer to what imposter syndrome is. So imposter syndrome is the belief that you are going to be eventually found out. You automatically dismiss success, so that feeling kind of really never goes away. While it may be severe for women, and other underrepresented minorities, I definitely know the feeling. It's kind of a phenomenon experience that's really experienced across all races and gender lines. So imposter syndrome is especially acute in professionals where people work. So I'll use women, for example, or myself. I'm a Black woman in a male dominant field. So when I enter in rooms and I have to discuss, anything as far as from help desk or when I'm in business meetings, I might have to speak to somebody to try to get grant funding. I have to come in and represent that I know what I'm talking about and I know why I need it. And this is the reason why you should give it to me, so to speak. Very blunt, very vague, but I'm a very straight to the narrow point person. I don't like fluff. But when you do enter in those rooms, you do have to hold that type of essence. So, like I said, imposter syndrome is the inability to internalize your accomplishments. Like I said, you dismiss success immediately. You automatically have that feeling like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. And you kind of convince yourself that you're a fraud. We do all those things way before we even enter into a room. So I'm pretty sure, again, we've all had this feeling where we could be getting an award for something. We probably feel like we don't deserve it, or I didn't do that much work to deserve this award. When in all reality, you probably stayed up for like 2 or 3 days straight working on whatever it was you were working on to get that reward. But a lot of times we diminish ourselves because we don't feel that we are who we are. So let's look at a couple of these terms. Do any of these sound familiar? Like I was just explaining, we diminish ourselves. It was just a simple bug fix. I only did part of the work. It was mostly my coworker. Well, I guess I'm decent at public speaking. Another one. I think this is probably the way we should do this. Or I was in the right place at the right time. It was good timing. Or I got lucky with my first programming job. Couple of these terms, they actually mean something. Have anybody ever used these words that were in bold when you're kind of talking about your work? People with imposter syndrome, they kind of use some of these attributes to success to external factors and describe accomplishments with qualifies or self-depicting language, which is the words in bold. So it's kind of like, oh, I just happen to be at the right place at the right time. Or on the flip side, they'll attribute to failure themselves the ability of effort, kind of like, oh, I should have worked harder. So these terms, I like to call them killer terms. Let's move on. So now the imposter syndrome, it does have a cycle. And just like any and everything else, cycles are circles, and circles are not always good things. So let's figure this out. Imposter syndrome can be a vicious cycle. You receive a new opportunity and the feeling of initial excitement. Then the worry kind of sets in. Then we got panic. Now we have fear. And because we truly don't believe that we may deserve the opportunity. So now we might either engage in intense overwork or just completely procrastinate on whatever it is until the very last second. But here's the thing. Either way, you're likely to be successful because you're smart and you're capable. So you were chosen to be approved for a reason. So let's always remember that when we're ever given an assignment and we kind of feel like, I don't know why I was given this assignment or I don't deserve this, it was given to you for a reason. Somebody, whoever gives, whoever you work for, however you give out your assignments or however you receive work or whatnot, if they come to you specifically, there's a reason because they know you can get it done. So initially, you might just go ahead and let out a sign and you just might let out a sign and experience some temporary relief. But quickly, you will find yourself focusing on the tiny flaws in your execution. It might be a typo in the post, or you might be stumbling over your words in the section of your talk. I do that a lot in my talks. I've been on podcasts. This is not the only workshop I've done. I've done interviews, and still to this day, I still kind of stumble over my words. And with that, it can be an entire endeavor of failure, which of course, failure is not always a bad thing. If you don't fail, how do you learn? And then what it does do, though, it will continue the cycle, and that can be exhausting. So I want everybody to take a couple of 2-3 seconds and just read this quote by Maya Angelou. I'll read it along out loud as well. I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I run a game on everybody, and they're going to find me out. Maya Angelou. With this quote, this feeling can be quite persuasive, but it does show that even Maya Angelou, arguably one of the most accomplished poets and writers in our history, also felt the same way with imposter syndrome. So, with all of this and me blabbering, why does any of this matter? So, this is why we're spending some time talking about imposter syndrome. You might be thinking, why does it matter that I hold myself back from sharing my own experiences? I'm just one person. I'm not that big of a deal. What does it matter if I don't share my voice? Well, as I was saying earlier, it does matter because if you're not just only going to miss opportunities in life, you're also going to be held back because, as I mentioned, tech is communal. It does rely on it relies on shared knowledge, and I agree 110%. It's kind of like a hive mind. That's how I view tech. Tech is a hive mind. and we learn something from each other every single day, all day. I'm pretty sure we could all pull up a blog on tech and somebody's going to have an article on some big discovery. Some of us do work on teams that pair programs every day. Most of us have used Slack. That's an overflow to solve complicated COVID challenges as far as communicating back and forth. We do also attend conferences. We read technical books, blogs again. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we just type and pull it up. And if anyone really was afraid to share their voice, we really would not have a tech industry. So if the first guy that made a transistor, which is the basis of all things electronic, if he was afraid to tell someone what he invented, we would not have none of the things that basically run on electricity today. So, what are we going to do about it? So, if we are feeling this way and we need to overcome it, what are we going to do? Well, that's what we're going to do with these next couple of slides. And we're going to slowly go through a few strategies that we can all use, including myself, to combat dealing with imposter syndrome. Now, here's the first option we got here. Tina Fey School of Imposter Syndrome. Just acknowledge it and move forward, which I like it. For some people, you might know the term fake it till you make it. And you know what? That strategy works for some people. Maybe not for everybody, but it does work. So that's the first option. Fake it till you make it. Here's another option. And I have a hard time saying this word, but the second option is recontextualize. But for others, this could be used to kind of reframe a conversation and understand that thought leadership is not about proving yourself, your intelligence, or your worthiness. So you don't have to prove that to anybody. It's about sharing what you know with the world. But put differently, it's a gift that you're giving to other people. All right, option 3, collect the data. Now, this is an activity. What we're going to do, if you want to counter like your own inner critic, it will be helpful to remind yourself about everything you achieved thus far in your life or in your career. It doesn't just have to be personal, it could be professional as well. We're calling this collecting the data because you can't fix what you don't know. So we're going to spend at least 2 minutes and we're going to write down at least 10 of your accomplishments. And these can either, again, be professional or personal. And just make sure that you're avoiding the bad language that we used in the other slides, okay? So remember, don't use the "it's just" or "I'm just being lucky." Remember, don't use those words. Own your accomplishments. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set a timer for 2 minutes. I'm gonna write down some as well, and then we'll come back. All right. So that was 2 minutes. I try to be a very punctual person. So I'm gonna go ahead and read off the 10 that I was able to come up with for myself with my professional and personal accomplishments. Some of them might be a little cheesy, but I'm okay with putting myself out there and being cheesy. So my very first one I put was starting my very first business. That was a very big accomplishment for me. It's something that I talked about for years, and to actually do it it's for me. That is a very huge accomplishment. Becoming a mom, that's a very huge deal, that I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's the hardest job I've ever had in my entire life, but it's the best job I've ever had in my entire life. Um, Learning how to network. That's for me, that's a really big accomplishment because like how we said earlier, how tech is so communal, learning how to network is a really big accomplishment for me, especially because I'm an introvert. Getting engaged. I know that's another personal one. That was very big for me. Um, I just didn't think that it would ever happen for me again, and it did. So that's an accomplishment. Expanding my entrepreneurship. So not only did I start my first business, it pushed me to go ahead and start another one. So that's another big accomplishment for me that I'm expanding. Another one I put, another personal, getting a dog. Something I want to have an entire life. I always want to cute little family setting, have the kids and the dog. So got my dog. That's an accomplishment. Here's a professional one. Becoming certified, Google certified, and the introduction of computers and the bits and bytes of networking. I hold both those certifications. And then let's see, what did I put here? Oh, creating my third business. I'm sorry, it's chicken scratch because I was just trying to hurry up. Creating my third business. I know that I kind of feel like that goes hand in hand with expanding my entrepreneurship, but my third business is a non-for-profit. So now I'm trying to take my experience in my career and give back to my community. So now I'm in that phase. So that I guess that is an accomplishment. And I ran out of time because I'm a thinker and I was probably thinking too hard and I don't even think I got to all 10. So if anybody wants to put in the chat what they were what they wrote, that's quite all right. If not, we can go ahead and move right along too. There's no problem. Okay. What's going on? Okay, there we go. It wasn't working on my end. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Yay. All right, Fator. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I am 100% sorry. Please charge it to my head, not my heart. Just what's the proper way?
Yeah, it's Vittore, like
Fator.
Dore. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Fator.
Thank you.
No problem. No, like I said, please thank you for correcting me. I want to respect your name, Fator. All right, so here we go. Graduated chemical engineer from top 10. Oh, in the top 10%. All right. Traveled to over 49 countries. Oh, you're doing way more than me. Helped my brother pay for his school. Oh my God, I love that. Helped my mother financially. Beautiful. Help with new operation procedure at work. Yes. Mentoring my roommate when he was dealing with issues at work. Okay. Run a half marathon in my life. Girl, you ran, go ahead. Go ahead. Because I'm not running nowhere. Um, Paying off college student loans, zero in debt. Let's go. I love it. Zero in debt. Let's go. And then let's see. Left my job to pursue the tech industry. Yep. Step out on faith. Absolutely. And declined a high paying job in oil and decided to stay unemployed to find my job in tech. That is amazing because stepping out on faith like that takes a lot of courage. And I 100% clap it up for your courage because that takes a lot. And it does because even being the mom and being an entrepreneur, Sometimes you don't always know if you're gonna be able to pay that bill next month. Sometimes you just don't know. You just be like, well, we just gonna see. So, I completely understand, and I tip my hat off to you for your bravery because it really is a brave thing to do. All right, and let's see. Option 4. Okay, here we go. I'm slow. Teach what you know. A final option is to teach what you know. Often you might not be able to recognize how much you actually know about a topic until you have to start explaining it or sharing it to somebody else. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to spend 1 minute writing down anything related to tech that we would teach. It could be super small, or it could be specific, or it could be very broad. Again, we'll go ahead. We'll just spend a minute on this. Nothing too big, nothing too crazy. And I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer, reset, and here we go. Okay. That I can teach. All right. So, all right. That was 1 minute and 5 seconds. I was trying to catch it. That's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead again. We could do the same thing. If you want to put it in the chat, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and read off my 5 things that I will be able to teach related to tech. One thing I know for a fact that I can teach how to build a PC from the ground up that I can do. One thing I am in the midst of learning that I do want to probably teach is I'm trying to learn how to build I guess you would say, a submerged computer that's submerged in water. But it's a specific type of liquid. It's not clearly water, but it's a very specific type of liquid. But that'll be something that I want to learn so I can teach somebody like you. That's awesome. I can teach you how to build a website. I can teach you how to code. Will it be rough? Yeah, but I can do it. I can teach you how to build an app. I've built countless apps. I can build you an app for transportation. I can build you an app for an online store. I could help you build a game. I'm pretty good in that area. Um, and I could also teach you tech fundamentals, the very basics of computing. One thing that I am venturing into is helping the elderly people learn those things because they're getting left behind in that department in a lot of areas. So, I can teach basic, turn it on, typing, this is the mouse, volume. Basically, anybody that's freshly being entered in IT, that class, I can teach that. And then I also, weirdly enough, I've learned how to create an online store presence for people. So oddly enough, that's something I can also, I feel I could teach as well. So that was my 5. I'm actually happy I was able to do it because I didn't think I was going to be able to keep up. All right, let's see. Torre. Yay. Okay. All right, so year 5, persona creation for product development. Okay. How to carry user interviews. That's good. Might need to talk to you about that. Road mapping for project management. Yes, that's definitely. A/B testing. Beautiful. And process creation. Yes. We're going to have to talk because I need some help in a lot of different areas, and you seem like the person I need to talk to. So that is awesome. But thank you so much for interacting. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take it a step further. So now that we have a number of practical ways that we can work to counter the feeling of imposter syndrome a little bit, This is what we're going to do to feel less like an imposter and more of an expert. So, what does it mean to be an expert? What gives someone credibility? We're going to go ahead and we're going to share a couple of words and let's just see what we come up with. Again, if you guys need to know exactly what the question is, share a couple of words in the chat on what it means to be an expert and what gives someone credibility. So I think, well, I could just go ahead and say mine. What I think gives someone credibility is, can you tell me where you got your information from? Because I know you just didn't get it from the clear blue sky. You've had to read an article, you've had to work on a project. Something happened for you to get this information. I would just like to know where you got your information from. Because anybody that's an expert in anything can tell you where they got their information from with no problems. So to me, that would be one of the things that I would look for in somebody being an expert. Um, because when you have that, that backs up their credibility. So it goes hand in hand together. Expert knowledge on the topic and being able to teach others. Yes. Because I mean, we could go ahead and we can say that professors are experts because they're teaching us. We don't know. They're the expert. They're supposed to tell us. So absolutely, I agree 110%. All right. So crafting credibility. How do we do that? These are the three primary factors that we're going to need in crafting credibility. So, knowledge. You need to know what you know. Experience. What have you done? Who do you know? And the very last one, I guess a shiny bauble. I'm trying to figure out how to explain what that is. Oh, okay. I know how to explain it to you all. It's like an impressive fact that's unique. So I think that's the best way I can explain it. Um, all of which kind of answers the questions, what do I need to know about you to trust you and what you have to say? So basically all the things that we said in the chat and what we already said as far as what is credibility. So we're already ahead of the game. Yay, us. So what we're going to do is let's dig into, a little bit more that goes into knowledge and experience. Um, but let's start with, I want to spend some time with Shiny Bubble. And the only reason why I want to spend some time on that is because I want to make sure that I explain it correctly, which is why there's a slide on it. So what is impressive about you? Can be results from like projects that you worked on, an award or honor that you may have received in education or any type of training. You could have gone through a number of things. So what we're going to do in understanding what Shiny Bauble is, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take 1 minute to write down 5 things that you can pull from the list of accomplishments that you wrote. So from the 10 that we wrote, we're going to pull 5 from them. So let's give it a minute and we'll go ahead and we'll just pick the 5. Let's go ahead and go. With 5. All right. So that was 1 minute. 1 minute. I think exactly. I think I hit it this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through the five that I chose. I chose starting my business, becoming a mom, getting engaged, expanding my entrepreneurship, and getting my certifications. Those were the five I chose. If you want to share yours, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat. Yay, you are on it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Persona creation for a product. Oh, wait, things are moving. Okay. Persona creation for product development. Okay. How to carry user interviews. Okay. Road mapping for project management, A/B testing, and process creation. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then expert knowledge on top of that, being able to teach it. Okay, we read that. I think I read that. And then engineering degree. Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we switched. Okay, got it. Engineering degree, improved operations and processing plant that I worked in. All right. And then help improve safety of operators at work and traveling the world. Love it. Yes. So with all of that, I hope you're feeling some sense of accomplishment and pride because you wrote down things that you actually did. So because I want you to take those emotions and what now I want you to do is use it for the next part of the exercise. And that's really the main goal for today, which is writing your bio, the whole reason why we're here. So let's start by writing our bios. If you do already have a professional bio, go ahead and throw a hands up in the chat. I do have one. And if you do, have you updated in the past 3 months? I could be honest and say, no, I have not. I think the last time I updated my professional bio was almost the end of last year. So it wasn't that far off, but that was the last time I know that I've done it. But what we need to do is we should update it every 3 months because our bios are always going to be changing because we're building as we're going along. We're building our knowledge. So what we need to do is keep up with it every 3 months. So let's start from scratch. I will be doing this as well because I need a new professional bio too. So what do we need to include in our bio? All parts of yourself. You want to include your your roles, the skills you have, your strengths, your experiences, and your values. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into each of those individually, exploring what makes you as a unique asset to the industry from these roles, and we'll find out the values that you hold. All right, so let's go. What are your roles on your team, organization, or projects? List as many as you can in 1 minute. So if you're a tech lead, list that you're a tech lead. If you're a facilitator, project manager, designer, whatever you are, whatever role that you play, let's list them. So I'll go ahead. We'll put the timer up again for 1 minute. And here we go. Okay. That was 1 minute. I'm gonna go ahead and list the five that I have. So I am, of course, Chief Executive Officer of Smile Mas. I am the founder of one not-for-profit called Nadine and Friends. I am the tech lead for a transportation company called TWF Transportation. And I am also the facilitator of another nonprofit that's up and coming called One Arc. Well, one of the facilitators. So those are my 5 roles. Let's see what we got going down here. All right, project manager, product manager, process implementation, and people's manager. And see, all those, I hate to sound so immature, but I don't want this to be a stiff workshop. But with all those big words, you should feel like a really big person. Like you should feel like you the best thing walking right now. So I love it. All right, so now we're gonna move on to skills. What do you know? List as many skills as you can. Oh, no problem, Cindy. Thank you so much for taking the time and watching. It will be up on YouTube and the link will be dropped. So you could definitely go back and watch the rest of it. Thank you so much for taking the time and being here. Um, moving on to skills. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to list the skills that we have, like programming languages. As you all see, I'm pretty sure we all have heard of HTML, Java, frameworks, tools like WordPress, documentation, testing, project management, etc. We'll go ahead and we can list as many as we can in 1 minute. So let's go ahead and go. All right, that was 1 minute. I'm gonna go ahead and list the 5 that I wrote down. As far as programming languages, I know Java, HTML, Python, and Swift. Um, I also, as far as I guess you'll call it the tools section, like how they have WordPress here. I put Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, but not just for Microsoft products. I also know it for like Google products, like Google Docs, Google Slides, and then the same with Apple as far as Pages and Keynote. And then I also list project management. Um, with having my hands in all these different types of businesses and different industries and leading a lot of different projects. Like for example, when the bus company needed an app for transportation as far as so parents can track where the school bus is to make sure their kids got to school. I led that. So project management, I felt like, that's a skill that I have. So let's see. Let's go to the chat. All right, skills. Figma, processing model, and learn Six Sigma. Ooh, okay, go ahead, because I haven't even done that yet. It's on my to-do list. It is on my to-do list, but I'll be honest with you, it's at the bottom because it looks very intimidating. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Okay, strengths. What do you consider your strengths? What do others highlight in feedback sessions? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to list as many as you can. If you need some examples, there's some there, like, are you good at fixing bugs? Are you a good leader? Are you a pioneer in your process? Alignment, keeper of context. So what do you think your strength is? Let's go ahead, get my little timer up, and I'm going ahead and start my strengths. All right. Just 1 minute. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and list what I have. So I did put leadership. Can't have my hands in all these different parts of industry and not be a leader in it. Bug fixer, because when customers let me know that their website's not working or it might be down or a picture might be placed improperly, I have to, of course, dig through all that code and figure it out. So I do feel like being a bug fixer is one of my strengths. And then I also put reports and case studies because with everything that I do, like when companies ask me to build their website, I literally document my entire process, and then I create a case study and I post that case study on the business website so people can literally see what my process was in building their website. So I think that's actually a good strength because that's not really something to me easy to necessarily do, especially because it's kind of like editing and making sure it looks very professional. It's a whole class. Like a lot of people think that IT is just, oh, you're just on the computer and you guys are just you just fix stuff. And it's like, no, it's I feel like it's almost as technical as being a doctor. They might be saying much, but I take my career very seriously, and I do feel that way, especially with as much technology that we use today. People like us are pretty much the reason why this world is still running on this axis. All right, and let's see. Let's go ahead. All right. Process improvement, working and leading cross-functional teams, formulating relationships, internal exposure, and positive outlook on life. Yes, that's actually the positive outlook on life. The only reason why that stuck out to me the most because that is a strength. Trying to stay happy all day, every day is not easy, but it's better than just being sad. So I commend you for that. All right. So next up, we have experiences. What have you done? So there's many things, the types of jobs you've had, types of internships, if you had done any apprenticeships, organizations that you're affiliated with, schools, school education certifications, projects that you worked on, work or personal. We'll go ahead and we'll take a minute on that and go. Yeah, I gotta excuse the animal. All right. There's
Hi,
1 minute.
Brandy. Hi, I just wanted to say I need to jump on another Zoom at noon, but just wanted to thank you for the session. It made my morning.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, like this was exactly what I needed. So
No, it's
like,
not a problem. I'm happy I was able to make your day.
and you said the remaining the recording of like the last 30 minutes will be on YouTube or a link sent to us. Is that correct?
Yes, it will be on YouTube. Matter of fact, I can go ahead and drop the link for you right
Oh,
now.
I see. It's okay. Perfect.
Let's see. YouTube. I believe it's youtube.com and then it should be just Smile Mods. Let me search for it. And then the logo comes up.
Oh, I actually see the live one on YouTube. So it's probably the same link right here.
Yep, the exact same link.
Okay.
That's
All
exactly what
right.
it is.
I'll post it here in case. Thanks again.
No problem. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
You too. Bye.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep moving right on along. So because we're going to go ahead and we're going to list the different things that we've done. So the things that I went ahead and listed were that I was I guess you would say one of the lead case file managers for an electric company. Well, I was one of them. I wasn't the lead, but I was one of the leads. And I have 2 Google certifications that I actually worked really, really hard for. And projects, my biggest project that I worked on was creating my very first app for the transportation company. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. I had to make sure that everything was still running. Does it look like everything stopped running? Don't you hate it when stuff like that happens? Let's go ahead. Okay, there we go. So those are the experiences that I went ahead and listed. So let's go ahead and move right along. So now we're going to talk about values. What values are most meaningful to you? What I'm going to do is go ahead and show a list of values, and what I'd like for you to do is choose 5 of them, and, excuse me, and explain why these 5 for each. You can go ahead, you can select anything, and it doesn't even have to be on this list. So what I'm gonna go ahead and choose accomplishment. What accomplishment means to me is reaching my goal, kind of like my end game. I worked this hard, and now that I finally, did whatever it was I need to be done, it's a sense of great feeling that yes, I did this. Another one would be loyalty. The reason why loyalty is very important to me is because tech world is a hive mind, we rely on that information to be as accurate as possible. Because just imagine if we're trying, and I know it's out there, but we're trying to make an artificial heart. And if you're giving false information, that false information also gives false hope to somebody as well that actually might need it. So loyalty is very, very meaningful to me. Mentorship is extremely important to me. I believe if I'm the smartest person in the room, then that's a problem. I should not be the smartest person in the room. I believe there should be somebody smarter than me because there's always knowledge to obtain. Um, Creativity. I'm a very creative person. I'm more in the creative side of tech on things. Though I do understand hardware and work with hardware mostly, I do understand the creative side. And when you bring creativity, that's what makes it exciting because it's not just your standard or basic, like how I said, I want to sit here and basically build a computer that's submerged in water. That takes creativity. And then we'll go ahead and say excellence. And the reason why I value excellence is because everything that I do, it needs to be, for lack of better words, top tier. If I'm out and I'm buying a product, I expect that product to be a top tier product. And because I expect that for when I go out and receive things, I know that's what people want to receive from my services or products. So we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and get creative. So what we're going to do is we're going to select one prompt from any of these choices below, and we're going to write down anything that comes to mind from the prompt. We don't have to edit anything ourselves. We're just going to write continuously for 3 whole minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to sit here and write for 3 whole minutes. What I will do is I will go ahead and I will pick one of these and I will further elaborate on it. So let's see. We have as developers or designers, etc. We should do more of blank. Next one, something I can teach and why it's useful. An important lesson I've learned in my career. And what do you know now that you didn't know a year ago? Last but not least, a personal quality that has made me successful in my career. So the one that I am going to pick would be a personal quality that has made me successful in my career is my ability to network now. before, I'm still I'm an introvert, and everybody knows introverts don't like being out there or talkative or anything of that nature. But learning how big networking is and the importance of networking, it's taught me to closed mouths don't get fed. And there's so much knowledge out there. I thought, I've learned by not talking to other people or different professors or, engaging with other students in universities. I've limited myself to knowledge. So that's what I would choose. All right, so review time. Let's go ahead and go through this. So it's an activity from each list. What are you most excited about, most proud of, and want to use in the future? Are these reoccurring threads or are they themes? So, what am I most excited about? The thing that I am most excited about is the expansion of my entrepreneurship. What I am most proud of is my accomplishments in those roles and how I'm still expanding those roles. And what I want to use in the future, I want to harness the technology that my company creates and give it to the community to help the community. Now, before we just jump right in and deep dive, when you're writing a bio, you want the information about yourself to be clear, but you also want to have your own unique voice. Don't end up sounding like a job description. That's not what you want. When you use description language, allow your reader to engage with your content in a more intimate way. So let's go. What we're going to do is show, don't tell. Descriptive language is everything. Are you a creative leader that constantly meets stated goals? Are you that person that meets that goal? Or do you harness ideals, wrangle angle teams, obsess over cultivating an inclusive culture, a shepherd junior developer through mentorship and masterful coaching? See how the two sound kind of different? So now what we're going to do is we're going to rephrase the strengths that we wrote down, the skills and the experience that we highlighted. And we're going to review an active and engaged language. So let's do that. So while we're looking at our list, if you need to rephrase anything, go ahead and rephrase anything. If you need to rewrite, like, I didn't mean to write that, I want to write something else, that's totally fine. So this is what we're going to do. Rephrase the strengths and skills experience that you highlighted in reviewing the activity and engaging language. So once we get that done, I'll go ahead and I'll explain this slide. We'll go ahead and we'll give it a couple of seconds. Okay. So now, this is what we're going to do. I want us to take some time and look back at those lists in our free writing. Again, if you need to rephrase, go ahead and rephrase. I'm going to show you guys some ideas that about, I guess you could call them descriptive adjectives, for lack of better words, and verbs that you can use. So if you look over here, these are descriptive adjectives. Over here are descriptive verbs. So throughout your list, if you want to go ahead and change, so I will put, instead of I am a trustworthy person to get this project done, I would say responsible instead of trustworthy. Instead of saying that I finished, completed the app project that my job, needed, I would say that I executed instead, or I launched a new app, or I launched a project, So we'll go ahead and let's use those languages and we'll go ahead and move right along while that's happening. But I could go ahead and give you guys some great tips. So make sure you use the tools that you have. Let the people know who you are, and what they know is enough. There's no need to exaggerate details or provide half truths in your bio. So never lie in your biography. Always quantify with your data, which means how many downloads on the new app that you built. How many downloads has it had? Have you had any new features that you plan to launch in the year at my company? So every year at the beginning of the year, just to give an example, what I do for Smile Mods is I put on the website or in our newsletter for our subscribers the things that the company plans to do throughout the year. Those things are important. How many years of experience do you have? Like I said, I've been in tech for over 20 years. So hearing that means something, honestly, to people. And also make sure that you invert the negatives. So, are you a student or new to the industry? Make it value. What you could do is frame yourself as an expert beginner. See how that sounds different? And then who better than to teach someone about transitioning careers into tech than someone who has just done it? And then also make sure you give credit to your personal experience. If you launched a startup that closed, that's okay. Failure is important, as I stated in the beginning. If you don't fail, how do you learn anything? So it's also a powerful tool that you can have in your story as well. All right. So now it's time. It's time to write the bio. So we're going to write a first draft. Here's some helpful framework, as you can see here on the slides. You can use this to help get started. I'm also going to show a list of descriptive adjectives and verbs that you can use as well. So I'm going to leave this up for just a couple of seconds. Anybody that wants to use it to, kind of start your short draft of your bio, you can. All right, you guys, I just want to go ahead and show on here the descriptive adjectives on this side and the action verbs on this side that you all can plug into these over here. I just want to share that. I'm gonna go ahead and try to play some music in the background. All right, nothing less than lofty beats. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna go over what I came up with. I went ahead and chose, I have been a blank for blank years, and I chose the last one, what unique about me is blank. I have been a creative coordinator for 10 years. I thought that sounded epic. And the last one, what is unique about me is I produce purpose-driven apps for businesses. See how there's a difference between what I just said versus, oh, I design apps for businesses. It's way different. So now what we're going to do is we have to finalize our bio. Writing a bio is hard, but we did already went ahead and took the first steps. We're going to go ahead and send some follow-up materials to all of you all that were here today. And so you can go ahead and perfect and polish your bio. So let's go ahead and let's wrap it up. So let's go ahead and look back at what we talked about today. We talked about imposter syndrome. We wrote down 10 accomplishments. We wrote down 5 things we could teach. We wrote down 5 shiny baubles. We listed our roles, strengths, skills, experiences, and values. And we rephrased them with active language. We wrote a first draft bio. Congratulations, you guys. So thank you so very much. We can go ahead and connect. Everybody that did come here today, you do receive a free gift. You receive a t-shirt and I believe a tumbler. You've also been placed inside of a raffle for a free pair of AirPods. And you are also subscribed to Smile Mom's newsletter 100% for free. Being a subscription to Smile Mom's newsletter, you receive discount on all our products, and you are always the first to know to any event or new product launch that we have. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here today. I know it was a bit lengthy, but we got through it. Thanks for hearing me run my mouth. If you want to connect with me, my handles for all my social media is my name, Brandi, and then my last name, Jimmar. If anytime you want to connect, just look me up. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. Thank you so much. You guys have an amazing day.